I know a lot of people don't understand why red pill content is fed to the youth. But there's a reason why. There are multiple reasons why, but there's one big reason why red pill content is fed to the youth. But before we get into that, let's look at this video first. Let's kind of go through the what happens, and then we'll get to the why. Because I'm definitely interested in more the why than the what, right? Because I know men have been inundated with misogynistic content for a millennia, you know what I'm saying, or two now. So that's nothing new. But the question becomes, why are they targeting small boys, and why are they targeting them with this specific content? And we're gonna get into that after this video.
Like many his age, Brian Campbell says he grew up an iPad kid, playing a lot of video games.
You about to lose anyway, it don't matter.
And when the COVID pandemic forced schools to shift to remote learning when he was 12, his primary connection with friends was online.
I would spend all my time on the internet. Either I'm playing the video game or on TikTok, or both. Fortnite, NBA 2K. If me and my friends get bored playing it for 10 hours, then we scroll on TikTok and send each other videos, and then we get back to playing the game.
Eventually, content with a specific perspective started showing up on Campbell's feeds.
It is so easy to become a top-tier male in the world today because the competition is so ridiculously low.
Topics masqueraded as informational, kind of male improvement. I think a lot of these people have lived more life. They're rich, they're nice car, all that. Like what society says is the ideal for a young man.
The message appealed to Campbell, and the more he engaged with it, the more he saw. Campbell had found himself in the heart of what's known as the Manosphere. The term broadly refers to online communities that create and share content aimed at men and boys. But there's growing concern about the ideas behind that content. Misogynistic, often conspiratorial beliefs about gender roles and masculinity.
And that's the first thing that I want to touch on is the conspiratorial portion of the Manosphere. So a major reason why they feed little boys this content is to get them into the right-wing pipeline early, to get them to become conservative early. You know, if you look at conservatism and it being on the rise, it wasn't on. I mean, it took a stark decline with millennials. Millennials are extremely, liberal as a generation, but then I'm speaking specifically of millennial men because Gen Z women and Gen Z girls are becoming more progressive, and Gen Z boys are becoming more authoritarian and conservative. And the culprit for that, the main culprit for that, is red pill, aka right wing content. So that's why they want to start feeding it to the little boys early. And as that young man just touched on, it starts it to a young man who doesn't know jack shit. Hearing, or seeing a man on jets and surrounded by pretty girls and pretty women and all of these things, that's appealing. Don't get me wrong. Like that, definitely, like the flash is the thing that appeals to them. And that's what attracts the young boys to the stuff. And then before they know it, though, they're talking about how Hillary Clinton is a lizard person and how Obama is gay and he has a gay agenda. You know what I mean? Like that's it's all these grand conspiracies. And here's the thing. I'm not here to defend Democrats or liberals or anything like that, right? Again, I am a staunch leftist. I'm way further left than anybody in the Democratic establishment. Anybody that identifies as a Democrat. I'm far left of anybody that even identifies as a Democrat. We're not in the same ballpark. But I don't need to make up conspiracies when the truth is right in front of my eyes, and the truth is worse than any conspiracy I can think of. Right? The truth is right there. The statistics, the history, it's all right there. I don't need to believe that Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton is a fucking lizard person. You know what I'm saying? Like they killed Gaddafi. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need to. Like, what conspiracy are you talking about? She openly admitted to killing Gaddafi. Like, I don't. You don't need to like sell me on some like we're part monkey blood bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, we're like the the truth that is right in front of my eyes is way worse than any conspiracy I've ever heard. The things that they openly say is way worse than anything I've ever heard. But they, to a young, impressionable mind, it's appealing. I get the allure, right? I get the allure, no doubt about it.
Thanks to a handful of key influencers, the Manosphere's reach has exploded. In an attempt to quantify that growth, researchers in Dublin set up accounts on multiple social media apps, posing as teenage boys. Last year, they reported that in less than half an hour, every one of the accounts was fed Manosphere content, whether they sought it out or not.
In the post-Me Too movement, we've seen this surge of online misogyny in particular.
Cynthia Miller-Idris is the founder of the Polarization and Extremism Research and Innovation Lab at American University. Her book, Man Up, The New Misogyny and the Rise of Violent Extremism, will be published in the fall.
They land on an influencer who's offering them often very tangible and real help that makes a difference, right? Like get 8 hours of sleep and drink water and get to the gym. And they package that with scapegoating of women or treatment of women or an idea of success as being, dominant. And so, your life is improving while you're starting to believe this other stuff.
Women sell.
And that's exactly what we've been talking about in these spaces since I've been in them. It's just how men. Here's the thing. Again, I get why a 19-year-old boy might hear this and hear that stuff and gravitate towards it, right? I get why a 17-year-old boy might hear that stuff and gravitate towards it. A 12-year-old boy might hear it. But my thing is, it's 30-plus-year-old men talking about Kevin Samuels. He dropped knowledge, or Kevin Samuels, what he would say, for every one thing he would say that would be like, if you wanted to deem it a good thing, he said 10 things that were 10 million times worse than the one thing he told you to do. Now, Kevin Samuels, now you guys make this make sense. Kevin Samuels, for an example, would tell men to spray on cologne and wash their ass. Okay. That men need to hear to wash their ass is a whole different story in and of itself. But he never actually got to why men don't want to wash their ass, by the way, which would have been the actual cure. Why don't men think being clean is masculine? It's because they think being clean is feminine. That's why men don't that's why men don't wash their ass. They think wiping their ass is feminine. And they have deemed everything connected to femininity to be a negative, aka misogynistic. It is misogyny. That's all it is. But that's why Kevin Samuels never got to the why. He would always talk about the what, right? Oh, yeah, y'all stink. You need to wash your ass. Okay, cool then, man. But he sold it as, if you want to be attractive to women, you need to wash your ass. As opposed to being like, hey, if you being attractive to women is one thing, but you need to wash your ass because it's healthy for you, number one. And number two, have you ever thought about why you don't wash your ass? Why you think it's weird to wipe your own butt and clean between your toes? See what I'm saying? Is it because you think that's something that women are supposed to do and men aren't? You know what I mean? He never got to that, right? So even in the good that he did, it didn't go far enough, right? But then he would turn around and in the next breath, vilify women for existing, vilify single mothers for existing, say that they're not worthy, they're not worth it. Tell women not to believe their own daughters if their daughters were to come to them, telling them that the man that, the woman's new boyfriend touched her or made an advance towards her or whatever the case may be. Oh no, y'all see, your child isn't an asset to me, as if children are things and not people and not human beings. So for every one thing he said that you could be like, if you took it at face value, was like, okay, I mean, that's not bad. He said 10,000 things that were 10,000 times worse.
Security, mental success.
This is seen as a more dominant position.
Oh, and I almost forgot my point in bringing all of that up was 30-year-old men know that 30-plus-year-old men, they know that. They already know that. They already know that it's not like one thing doesn't wash the other one out, but they just hide behind that. So it's a difference. Like I said, I can understand a 19, a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 22-year, you know what I mean? Wet behind the ears, don't know nothing about nothing. Yeah, okay, I give you a little pass or whatever. We all had our growing pains. I was dumb as fuck when I was 22, 23 years old, right? I know, I get it. You are 30 years old. You got 2 kids yourself now, brother. What the fuck is your excuse? What are you talking about? I mean, he offered some good information. No, but you know he didn't. I've challenged many men to tell me what was the best thing Kevin Samuels ever taught you. What was his information when you would go to his podcast and you would listen to him for hours on end? What was the thing that he would say the majority of the time that you felt like you needed to hear that wasn't rooted in bashing women? Crickets every single fucking time.
A woman wants sex more than the guy does.
The average woman will always cheat more than the average man.
That's the sort of content Campbell was seeing. Soon, he was echoing those ideas.
How like women want to control us, and you know, us as young men, we have to not be at the whim of women and stuff I didn't really know what I was talking about, but it sounded good.
Campbell's dad, Al, and his older brother, Brandon, who had fallen down similar rabbit holes when he was younger, noticed a change.
He started mentioning a lot of things typical of someone who believes that the world is against them, where you think that if you are not, I'll say in quotes, superior, then something's wrong. He was kind of taking on opinions that didn't sound like his own. They were opinions that I myself once had because I had gained them from someone else.
While Brian was seeing this material, were you aware of it?
I guess I didn't really pick up on it at first. But over time, you know, you say a few things, it gets a little concerning, like, you know, hey, my wife's gonna clean up after me. Being the alpha male and the this and the that and the type of guy that's the strongest, the baddest, and everybody needs to bow down and respect you, but then you don't have to respect anybody else.
When it comes to behavior like this, there's really no excuse for it, but there may be an explanation for it.
Psychologist and author Lisa Damore specializes in adolescent development.
It's helpful to think about 12-year-old boys in broader context. Girls hit puberty before boys do. So what this means is that for 7th grade boys in general, the girls are often beating them at recess, and then they come into the classroom and the girls are often beating them in school. So if you are a 12 or 13-year-old boy and you have had a very rough day at school where a girl outran you at recess and then had all the right answers when you didn't understand what was happening in class, and you come home feeling pretty small and you hop online and there is somebody telling you, listen, guys are actually great and the thing that's holding us back are girls, that is pretty compelling.
Jamie, I want you to listen carefully.
Online radicalization and the Manosphere are at the center of the Emmy-nominated Netflix miniseries Adolescence, the platform's most-watched show in the first half of the year, with 145 million views. It's a fictional account of how these influences lead a teenage boy to murder a female classmate.
It's a call to action by the Manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way.
In real life, there's a growing number of examples of Manosphere culture affecting interactions between boys and girls.
It's like little things like, oh, you should be back in the kitchen. And even though it's a joke, some people take it really far.
There are games that I've stopped playing because every single time I joined, I'd receive a rape threat.
Me and my former roommate were chased on campus by 2 different men saying that they were going to have a lot of fun with us that night.
Those kinds of things are have migrated from, online worlds into real life. Sometimes in ways that boys are just trying to be provocative, sometimes in ways that are really dangerous stepping stones on the way to more harmful and violent content and behaviors.
Experts say the key to combating the spread of these ideas and preventing their worst effects is to engage with young men.
Don't start with a lecture. Start instead with a question. Ask, have you seen this? What is it like to see it? What do you think adults don't know about this that we should probably know? And how can I be helpful?
That's what happened to Brian Campbell in Detroit. Around Thanksgiving 2020, his older brother, home from college, sat him down for a long conversation.
So I wanted him to have a more, I guess, reflective idea of how he was engaging with others, how he viewed people, and how he interacted with them, less as like ideas or groups of people, but as individuals.
Campbell says that talk helped pull him out of the manosphere. He still sees online videos pushing misogynistic views, but he says he's able to tune them out and click not interested.
A lot of it was like reminding myself about, people in my life, like my grandma, my mom, like remembering that like there are real life women in my life that I respect and love, and that there's more to it than what the internet shows.
This fall, Campbell will be a senior in high school. His summer is filled with internships and
Senior? High school? That boy at least 30. High school. Wait a minute now. That's crazy. No, I'm just playing. He's a strapping young lad. You know what's crazy about that? He's like extremely attractive. You know what I'm saying? Like he's charismatic. He's super smart. He's talented. He's a gamer, an artist. Like he's a very like appealing boy for the girls, I'm sure. And he's like like a lot of people think that people fall into the manosphere because they don't get women. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Men who get women, men who don't get women. It doesn't matter. Men will be susceptible to boys, men, whatever, will be susceptible to the manosphere, no matter what. It's a bunch of men who get women because the men who push the manosphere, a lot of them are married and a lot of them have women, many women. They have access to them. They have tons of money and plenty of women. That's not it. It's something else.
other programs. Now, when he hears friends make misogynistic comments, he tries to speak up. What I won't do, he says, is be complicit. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John.
That's as good as it could possibly get as far as ending is concerned. Shout out to that man's brother and his father for correcting him. Shout out to his brother for doing his own work. This is proof that men can unlearn it. Boys can unlearn it. The dad got involved. The brother got involved. There was an intervention, and the men in his life got him turned around. Thank goodness. And then shout out to the women in his life because they were good examples. They were like he said, he looked at his grandma, he looked at his mom, was like, well, these women are awesome. So I ain't about to sit here and shit on women when I got these women in my life. Like, that's crazy. It was an all hands on deck, call to action, and everybody showed up. Right. And we need more of that. We do need more of that. That's why men need to get more involved in the lives of their children, especially their sons. They need to be like to make sure that their sons don't grow up to be misogynistic assholes that can harm the world. You need to show up for all your kids. Don't get me wrong. But the difference between not showing up for as a man, I'm saying to me, it is a gendered issue, right? Not showing up for your son, not only negatively can and will impact your son, but it can and will. I mean, it most certainly can lead your son to negatively impact society. Like a boy left to his own devices, he's going to be exposed to the worst of the worst in the world. He will turn into a villain, right? Whereas a girl who is exposed, who is left to her own devices, will more than likely still develop into a decent human being, because women do it all the time. Women without fathers grow up to be decent women all the time. Yes, they were hurt. That's what I'm saying. The hurt is still going to be there from the abandonment of their father and some other reverberating issues, no doubt about it. But the women don't typically turn into villains. They don't turn into abusers. They don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't turn into users and cheaters and, blah, 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 blah. But when the men are without positive male role models to mitigate the damage that the patriarchy does to them, those men grow up to be terrible human beings. And if they have men in their life that are bad examples as well, same thing, same results. So it's the margin of error for little boys is so much thinner than the margin of error for little girls, because little girls are not indoctrinated to be terrible human beings. They're not fed these lies about men. They're not fed. Well, and they are. I'm sorry. Women are fed lies about men. They do internalize misogyny and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. But the results oftentimes are, I've said this before, women internalize their problems and men project their problems. That's the difference. Women, when they have a bunch of issues, it's woe is me. They are harmed. They end up with the biggest scars, right? Because everybody is inflicting all of this pain onto them. But little boys, they get inflicted. Cool. It's like, boom, society scrap. But then they turn around, they go, I got to do that to everybody else. I'm going to inflict pain and harm on everybody around me. And little girls don't grow up to be those types of women typically. That's the difference. And that is because of how we are socialized. If anybody is wondering, that's not because of testosterone. That's not because men are born bad or whatever fucking bullshit, gender essentialism, anybody is spewing on any of these apps. That is because of how we are socialized, without a doubt, which means we can undo the harm, as was proven by this young man and his father and his brother.